What is a mission? I keep hearing a lot of entrepreneurs and social media gurus say, like, you got to have a mission, you got to have a mission. But as artists, that's not something that I have found to come easy, because so much of my attention has been momentary. I'm interested in this, now I'm interested in that. And they could be wildly different things over a period of time. So I keep kind of coming back to this idea of what is a mission? And over the past couple months, I've been whittling down this phrase. A lot of it has come from the things that I talked about yesterday in my video, the building your major creative vision. And so once I've built that vision, whittled it and distilled it down into a sentence. So for me, a mission is, can I get up every day for the next 10 years and look at this sentence and read it and go, yeah, I'm going to do that over a long period of time. So what that means is that every word needs to be perfect. Every word has to point to the direction of my major creative vision. And that's what I'm going to focus on today. I have the sentence written, and I want to show y'all the process that I used to break down my mission. Because once you have this sentence that is your mission, then you got to think, okay, well, what does that mean practically in the real world? How do you turn that mission statement into a business? And that is, what you write down in the sentence is going to determine what you choose to do and how you choose to do it. The description of my business mission. Now you can see here, my business mission. My business mission is to build immersive, emotionally cathartic, transmedia story worlds that entertain, spark imagination, and explore the timeless conflicts within our modern world. That's a mouthful, but every single word is intentional and it all has meaning for what I want to do with my business and for my arts, film, product, content, and experiences. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down the key points word by word. The way I look at it is this: every single word is a new central node of ideas. The phrase "to build" means different things to different people. The word immersive, emotionally cathartic, it means different things to different people. So in addition to writing out this sentence, I wanted to expand on what these words mean to me with relation to my mission, my business, and my major creative vision. So let's go through that right now. To build, I want to say that every filmmaker is a studio. With AI agents, and modern technology, it is getting easier than ever for a single filmmaker or storyteller to build a body of work with less and less people, faster and for less money, that reaches more people and makes them more money. And the phrase "to build" is to execute on this creed that every filmmaker is a studio by leveraging automation platforms and AI to max out my potential as a solo founder. Now, I don't want to be a solo founder forever, but I want to explore how far I can get as a solo founder to see if I can push the limits, not only for myself, but for filmmakers who are coming after me or doing things at the same time. Contemporaries can share in this work as well. And another thing when I mean to build is I want to produce films, content, products, and live experiences. I come from a multimedia background in theater, music, film, live performance. And the only thing that I know how to do, and the only thing that I really want to do for the rest of my career, is find ways to combine these in new ways. And that's what build is. So in order to do this, I need to assemble a team obsessed with improving how storytellers build IP in the post-Hollywood era. Now, IP will get clarified later in this sentence. Let's go to the next word, immersive. What does immersive mean? To me, immersive means like I feel like I'm a part of whatever experience I'm engaged with. It's you share the experience alongside the characters. And it could be a movie, it could be any kind of medium. And my favorite entertainment experiences have all been immersive in some way. I saw Interstellar on 70mm IMAX in Chicago. That was immersive. I've been to numerous theme parks. I've seen Sleep No More, which is a New York City immersive theater experience of a retelling of Macbeth. That was one of the greatest entertainment experiences I've ever had because I felt like I was there. And also something as simple as a music festival, going to Bonnaroo, going to Lollapalooza that I've been to. A 360 experience where everything you do is part of the experience's brand. I love immersive experiences. And if the world building and emotional bond is strong enough with the audience or the customer or whoever it is, this can be achieved with any medium. I've had immersive experiences watching content. Some of my favorite content creators, the Neistat brothers, and even like obscure fashion brands on Instagram have an immersive experience that I want to learn how to recreate in the work that I do. So the next word is emotionally cathartic. Now, as storytellers and artists, emotional transfer is the work that we do. And it's wild how many films don't make me feel anything. I went to see a Marvel movie recently, and in, I think, 2.5 hours of watching that film, I only felt emotion twice. And it wasn't even strong emotion. It was just like, oh, I felt an emotion. And it's amazing how spectacle does not equal emotion. Music, sad music, does not equal emotion. We want to learn how to reverse engineer the moments that we've experienced these emotions during our favorite entertainment moments or in life, and learn how to present them to a new audience. This may seem weird, exploit primal emotions, but again, emotional transfer is the work that we do. We need to learn how to bottle and transfer joy, fear, anger, attraction, love, gratitude, wonder at will, or at least in a way that we feel is going to transfer. And that's another thing that I need to catch myself with, is that if you adhere to the objective conditions that cause these emotional responses, and you accept that human beings are infinitely complex, you have to admit and humble yourself before the fact that emotional responses are not one size fits all. And I think this is where a lot of modern movies and a lot of the sort of political backlash that we get from modern movies are a result of not thinking with this truth in mind, is that different psychographics will take different paths to reach the same emotional response. And an example of this is the show The Chosen. If you're a devout Christian, The Chosen is going to trigger in you a very specific, strong emotional response during an average episode. But if you're a devout militant atheist, it will trigger a different emotional response. So you have to understand the psychology of the different psychographics that you're telling stories for, so you know the pathways that will trigger the emotional responses that you want them to experience within your art. And I don't think it's bad to shoot for like trying to elicit emotions. I don't think it's bad. I think that's what stories are. Now, that's, taste and creativity are a thing. And do you want to be art? Do you want to be propaganda? Do you want to leave things neutral for them to discover for themselves? That's a taste question. But for me, with being emotionally cathartic, I want the work that I produce to elicit an emotional response, because otherwise it's just boring. And why would you pay money and time to experience something that is boring? The next part of the sentence is transmedia storyworlds. Now, for filmmakers, storytellers, transmedia is the bar. It's been set by George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, J.K. Rowling, Kevin Feige, Marvel, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Avatar. Transmedia is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So if you're telling stories in 2025 and beyond, you got to be doing it in transmedia in some form or fashion. But here's the cool thing, is that transmedia can be anything now. It can be a film. It can be pop-up shops. It can be smoke signals. The defining feature of transmedia is that it tells a part of a larger story. If the story is a pie chart, then a film or a pop-up shop or a smoke signal is just one slice of the pie. It's not like where you have a tie-in product or you retell a story in a different medium. It's its own section of the story. And it's amazing because depending on your taste and your creativity, which matter most, you can choose which mediums you tell in your transmedia story and how they connect. That's where the fun of it is. That's where you're going to discover new things that audiences have never seen before, which is kind of a requirement for modern entertainment. The other thing that we will do, that I want to do on my mission, is honor the strengths of each medium. I do not believe that everything is everything. I do not believe that film is content. I do not believe that architecture is music. And architecture can be influenced by music. Films can be influenced by content. But I believe, this is just my opinion, I believe that you need to adhere to the unique strengths of each medium. We go to the movies to see movies. The reason why that filmmakers have to beg and plead people to go to the movies is because 10 or 15 years ago, we decided to start trying to make TV and movies kind of the same thing. And so people see a lot of the same language in TV as they do in movies, which makes them think, well, they're just the same, which makes them think, well, I'm just going to stay at home and get the same experience. There's more factors to it than that. Films try to be TV, then people are just going to opt for TV in their house and not go to films because then they don't have to make a trip. So if I'm going to make a film, it's going to be the most filmy film that you can film a film. And if I'm going to make something that's in content, it's going to adhere to the rules and the strengths of what content is and down the list of anything that you create. So that's what I want to do when I say transmedia story world. The next part of the sentence is that entertain. Transmedia story worlds that entertain. You watch entertainment to be entertained, not lecture to, not witness to. You know, I think an old Hollywood producer said something like, if you want to send a message, use Western Union. And I'm not that extreme. I don't think that entertainment can have any sort of messaging in it, but I believe that entertainment is number one. And any high consciousness insight that you have is a byproduct of the work. It's a result of experiencing the thing as a whole, not a piece of propaganda that like tells you what to think. I have no desire to tell you what to think, how to think. I just want to present experiences in art and content and films to you and then let you come to your own decision. But first, you got to be entertained. David Mamet said something like, we experience entertainment to forget about our consciousness for a few hours, and I really like that idea. When you forget your consciousness, I would like, as opposed to being zombified into brain rot slop, I would like the work that I do to spark imagination. And when I say spark imagination, the things that I reference are things like 90s era Disney and Universal theme parks. I was a kid in the 90s. My grandparents lived in Orlando. I went to Disney and Universal countless times, and everything about those experiences, it was just nothing but imagination at scale. I can't explain it. If you've ever been to these theme parks, you know. You know what it's like to be a kid. You know what it's like to be awed by something. And I want to honor the inner child in us all, the part of us that where creativity and imagination is at its peak, and that you can do anything and create anything, and that nothing is off limits. My favorite entertainment, my favorite things in life are things that make me remember that. And I should add something else. I added the Apollo program here because that's more of the awe and wonder about what we can explore as human beings and what we can build in the real world. And also another thing, the Muppets. I think the Muppets spark my imagination because again, this is the second time I've mentioned the Muppets. I love the Muppets. The next key point is, and explore timeless conflicts. Transmedia story worlds that entertain, spark imagination, and explore timeless conflicts. Human beings haven't changed for thousands of years. You read all the old stories, you know, we'll see some old stories next year in the Odyssey. You read the Bible, Aesop's fables, anything, Epic of Gilgamesh. Human beings have always been solving the same problems. There are no new problems. There are no new narrative arcs in the human condition. And there's no point in trying to invent new problems to solve through stories. My favorite stories are the oldest stories. And I want to tackle the oldest stories and the oldest conflicts because I think those are the ones that, because they're so old and remain, they're the ones that are tied deepest to our primal emotions. So, you know, every story needs to be rooted in something that has been with us forever. The last part of this is a however, and the last part of this is and explore the timeless conflicts within our modern world. What does change about the conflicts is how these conflicts are mixed and presented. One of the largest conflicts that we're experiencing in 2025 is AI, which is just another God conflict. It's just another way for us to wrestle with something bigger than us that we don't understand. Geopolitics, always been the same, but it looks a little different. Culture wars, there have always been culture wars, but it looks a little different. And how those are mixed and presented, and the allegiances that the tribes and the groups and the ideas have, it's all contextualized in the modern world, but they all exist, they all come from the same place. So I want to tell stories about how these conflicts are mixed and presented today, or how they could be mixed and presented in the future. Where are we headed? Where are we going to be in the next 20, 30, 40, 60 years? And how can we learn from history to solve the problems in our future? That is my business mission. And again, I will read the sentence one more time, and maybe it will resonate a little bit more with you, probably will with me too, to build immersive, emotionally cathartic, transmedia story worlds that entertain, spark imagination, and explore the timeless conflicts within our modern world. With me doing these videos talking about my process, one of the biggest challenges that I'm personally facing is keeping as much of the results of my process spoiler free. I would love to make as many videos as possible detailing what I'm working on, but I don't want to ruin the surprise, because the surprise is the fun of it. The main condition of drafting this business mission is that I have to have a personal connection with it every single day. If not, it just becomes an exercise in procrastination. These next few days, man, they're busy. I'm working all day tomorrow in the scene shop at a local theater, and there's Holy Week this weekend. And so I'm going to try my best to record some videos, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I've been asking for the ability to do more and to take on more, and I've always heard it said that if you pray for flowers, you can't be surprised when you get a bunch of rain. So I think this pile that's on my plate now is preparation to learn how to take more on, because this thing that I'm working on, this thing that I'm building, I'm going to be doing a lot more than I'm doing now, and I got to be mentally prepared, logistically prepared. And yeah, so it's fun, it's exciting. I see everything that's on my to-do list each day, and I think like, yes, I get to do this. It kind of wigs me out a little bit, and it's difficult, and I have to remind myself to be present, because it's when you have a lot of stuff that you have to do, it's easy to sort of go into to quick thinking mode and just say, oh, just gonna do pop, 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 do this. But when you're dealing with things that have emotional resonance, like making social media content or building ideas for a film, or even like outlining the videos that I'm gonna make, you have to really think about it and think about what you want from it. And I'm getting a little off track, but I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I'm learning is when to think fast and when to think slow. Because over the years, I think I've gotten them wrong. I think I've had them flipped. And it's one of the reasons why I haven't had the success that I wanted. So maybe that's a topic of another video. But today, I got to get back to work. So thanks, and I'll see you at the next one.